Lütfen hoş geldiniz. Kaldığımız yerden devam ediyoruz.
We haven't seen anybody in a while. Maybe the monsters have stealth suits too.
Oh, neyse gidecek okula yeni geldik.
Yo, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my you seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. Little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. It's just that the right eye would see the wrong things. Flying tortoises? Oh, what the worst. Would you care for a mentat? I love men. I have all all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start. Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if you're Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. The anomaly? You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving. Now, that seems to be rather hormonal of you. Flight or fight response, you know. Your brain is here, safe with me. We chat. Oh, curiosity. I experience that less now that I know everything. Oh, maybe it was when I found out some unpleasant...
Ha!
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch
Neresi?
out!
Şunu
So
okuyorum
many
da.
chems, such variety.
Dur bakayım isim attısın. VF bakayım dur. Oo iyiymiş. İyiymiş lol. Kendimi de duyuyorum. Sesimi kısayım şuradan. Eyvallah.
Whenever I take Mentats,
Bayağı
I
iyiymiş.
can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung.
Tamam ne görevi?
As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem I find things curious as well. Go on.
Ha okey. Allah kabul etsin.
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came to me after these rather large scorpions kept coming in from the desert, like poison. How scary, I thought. But they had survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts? Then I thought about custard. I do so love custard. Oh, was it mustard? Mustard custard. Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. There's some reason for it. You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the right. Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my... This name's as real as you or I. Although I believe your brain expressed similar incredulity. Someone's been watching too many old-world science fiction movies, it said. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and... Like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them, take on new names. Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement, not an inner... But, yes, I did. It takes some... I certainly didn't until you said trap. The radar fence to keep the think tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep testing things. They would have found... I suspect I have Plan C's in place, but I may have coded myself to forget them. So I had to do something else to keep them occupied here. Or as you like to say, trapped. I prefer to have several Plan B's in case the A's... Oh, you figured it? Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. They have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but... I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartographers. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. And the world isn't ready for that kind of too-far thing-taking. Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in it. Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would simply deduce what had happened. Then you came along, the final variable solved. They saw that their world was large. There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions, but you are the one who... You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. See, your brain had a special kind of wrinkle, a unique... Yes, very good. I should have... In any event, bullet... But...
This one looks pretty tough.
So, you think you're a match for science? You two couldn't possibly have a relationship. You have nothing in common. Electrons attached to the...
No more stimpaks.
Neutron. The neutrons attached to the meson. Mesons connected to...
Şimdi en baştan mı yapacağım? Yok.
I can't give you
Geri çekilip durumu görelim.
I can't give you anything for that injury.
Of.
no more stim pack.
No more stim packs. We're out of stim packs. Maybe you'd be better off with an Autodoc suit. I can't give you anything for that injury. We're out of stim packs. Maybe you'd be better off with an Autodoc suit. No more stim packs. That all?
finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have... Ah, well, as to that, you'd be surprised how hard a feminine-sounding voice modulator is to find in the... It's not as though brain-sustaining life support tanks grow on trees. I had to take what I could get. Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brain. And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice. Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that... Well, I suppose I do miss those That... Right. No, don't worry about me. When you're gone, I'll keep myself hidden.
I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me.
Might I be of service? Very good, sir.
Well, hell. You require some addition. You require some addition. Well, you require some addition. You require some addition.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped?
Öleceğim olası. Geliyorum.
fight? I've never been in a fight. What do I... Ah! Colleagues! Think tank! Alert! Alert! We are under attack!
This one looks pretty tough.
Ah! Kill it! Kill it!
We're out of Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an Autodoc suit. We're out of Stimpaks.
Oh.
Maybe you'd be better off with an Autodoc suit.
I'm going to... About your stuffy little teddy bear.
No more Stimpaks. We're out of Stimpaks. Maybe you'd be better off with an Autodoc suit. Cessation of hostilities complete.
딜레이.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
The Forbidden Zone continued to be, true to its name, forbidden. No more robo-scorpions were sighted in its canyons. Big Mountain became even emptier, devoid of Dr. Mobius's proclamations forecasting the destruction of anything that dared possess sentience. Still, it is said he lived on in the equations inscribed on the floor and walls of the Forbidden Zone dome. A cobweb tracery of symbols that told of 1,000 brilliant thoughts, now lost to time.
The sink atop the dome gained a frontier town feel with the few modules installed. They shouted at each other across the HQ occasionally, either threatening each other or announcing a discovery. It kept things lively. Secretly, the Sync Central Intelligence Unit was relieved that not all of the personality chips had been found. What was there was enough.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden. So that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilized the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 continued to scan for the subject and the stealth suit prototype long after the test was over. Frustrated and unable to find its lost technology, X-13 expanded its network of laser tripwires, sensors, and robo-brains out across Big Mountain. This glittering
Hadi
blue
git artık
light
ya.
beam forest cleanly bisected anything that entered its depths, slicing them into small segmented parts for easy disposal.
The courier left the brain at the Big Empty. A strange thing to say, but it was the truth. Brains are less important than they may seem. When the courier's body finally passed, the brain was saddened. It kept on, remembering the vessel that had once contained it. Even at the end, when it started to fail, however, the brain resisted going into a floating chassis like the think tank. It never said why. Perhaps it was out of respect for the courier's body. All things must come to an end, and to hang on to the past is something that's not to be undertaken lightly.
The think tank basement, filled with lobotomized robotical frames of the doctors, now served as a graveyard. The monitors had recorded the battle in its entirety, including the think tank's final, shrill, terrified screams, whimpers, and pleas for mercy. They broadcast these humiliating last moments as a warning to anyone approaching the perimeter that other smarty pants were not welcome. The courier was the inheritor of the Big Empty, and there was room for only one will in the halls of the think tank dome.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for
Hadi git
years,
artık ya.
even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Blah blah blah
Where
blah.
once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sync sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
Oh be.
Huzzah, sir! Huzzah! Huzzah! Perhaps Sir would care to put Sir's feet up, and I might serenade Sir with the dulcet tones.
Yeter. Görüşmek üzere.